Oh, perfect.
Wow.
I got him perfect.
There we go.
There we go. Hey,
Perfect.
thanks for hanging in there with us.
Thank you.
So, I was just mentioning a little bit, football went a little shorter this year for us. We're not as used to that, as having this break. But I'm sure you're ready to go with basketball kicking off here and starting practice next week.
Yeah, super excited about this year. It was a really tough football year for us. As you know, I helped with the coach the freshmen and help on the varsity. And, Coach Hoover's going to get that thing rolling, and we'll be back full strength and ready to go next year.
Yeah, I actually, had a meeting evaluation with Coach Hoover today, and, he had me pretty fired up walking out of there with some of the things he's going to change. And, as a guy who been doing this for a while, you're going to have those rough years, and you just got to bounce back and learn from it and move on.
Yeah, and the toughest thing is we were really close in a lot of games. We had a couple breaks go our way, and instead of our record of being 2-7, we're 6-3. So that's kind of the way a lot of sports come down to one or two key plays, and we just weren't able to make those this year.
Yeah, so let's transition here into basketball. How did you feel coming off last season once you had a break away and had some time to digest and where you guys got to with the talent you had?
I think we had a great year. We kind of overachieved in our mind. Andy Maddox really stepped up for us last year. He's walking on at Michigan, doing a great job up there. And I saw him just the other day in our weight room, and he's gotten a lot bigger, a lot stronger. And then Noah Kurlbaum was, kind of our go-to guy last year, and we kind of overachieved. We made it to the sub-state championship, lost kind of a tough game at Harmon, didn't play our best game, and they played really, really well, and they made it to the state tournament, and we didn't. But we got a great group of guys coming back, and, super excited about that group.
Yep.
We'll say, how has the off-season work been so far?
It's been fantastic. We got some great guys. We got some combo guys that play football and soccer and also play basketball. And then we got some guys that, kind of mainly focus on basketball as well. So we got a good mix of kids that are kind of single sport guys, and we got a good mix of guys that are multi-sport guys.
One thing we like to talk about on the show, and a lot of times coaches bring up, is how important is it for these kids to be playing multiple different sports?
See, I love it. I think it really brings the competitive juices. We got some kids. Preston Reynolds would be a great example. Preston's a great football player, tremendous basketball player. He's got a chance to be really special for us in basketball. But, there's other kids like Jack Slaughter. Jack Slaughter was a fantastic soccer player. Soccer team had a great year this year, and, he's going to transition right into basketball. Price Terrell's another kid. It's a football, basketball crossover guy. And I just love those multi-sport guys. We got a lot of kids that, play basketball and play baseball too.
Yeah, fantastic. And I know you work really well with, all those head coaches that, Coach Ufford in the wrestling room works with you in football during freshman, and Coach Gordon, head baseball coach for our varsity. And, you guys work really well together with the freshmen and in the weight room. And, you guys do a good job keeping those guys out for, just go compete and do something.
Right. And I think that's super important. We have done a great job, I think, of having a coaching staff that really gets along. And that's so important. You can't be all about basketball. You can't be all about baseball. You can't be all about football. You need to be all about athletics. If you're going to be a high school coach and you want to just do your own thing, then you probably should coach in college. And you just recruit your own kids, do your own thing. But in high school, you got to share athletes. And in order to share athletes, you got to have coaches that are going to cooperate with each other. And, those guys are great guys. Those are super friends. Hoover's a great friend of mine. Gordon's a great friend of mine. Ufford's a great friend of mine. Jamie Kelly's a great friend of mine. Those head coaches are great guys, great people to work with. And then, we have great assistants. It's fantastic, all the great people that we got working for Shawnee Mission East.
Yeah, I was going to say, a big thing that we've noticed a lot among the schools that we talk to that are winning programs, like consistently winning programs, is exactly that, coaching. Coaches all throughout the building getting along and then sharing the athletes and then talking to each other, because then you also get to learn strengths and weaknesses of the kids, different things they do well, and also different ways you can kind of help out each other or whatever. So it's really cool. It's a common theme among kind of winning programs.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. There are some kids that you can really get on, and you can get after them, and you can chew on them a little bit, and then there's some kids that you can't do that at all. And I think in talking to other coaches, head coaches and assistants, you're like, hey, man, I'm struggling with this kid. I can't quite reach this kid. Well, we did this, and this in our sport and really made him kind of take off, and we did this and this. And I think those are always great things, and, we try to always do a great job of having open lines of communication with all our coaches, and I think that's important.
Yeah, talk a little bit about the competition in the Sunflower League, that we play in football and basketball and other sports. How is that competition going to be this year?
It's tough. I always look at the Sunflower League kind of like the NFL. I'm telling you, anybody can beat anybody on any week. It's that good. It's a great football league. It's a great basketball league. It has tremendous soccer. Wrestling programs are great. The baseball programs are great. Consistently year after year, you got 13 to 14 teams in the league. Most every team in there is a 6A team. You're going to have great games night in, night out, and that competition gets you ready for the state tournament.
Yeah, I know from the last 5 years that I've been over there, it's just sometimes you look at a team's record, and then we'll go in to play them, and I'll be at the game, and just that team comes in and competes harder than we do that night, and we might fall short, or you might look at our record and their record and think, man, we ain't got a chance tonight. We'll come in and just really compete hard and give our kids a chance to win it there at the end.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, is that you got to really compete. A lot of people thought, hey, we got Mahomes back, we'll just roll into Tennessee and we'll just kill them. And, it's not that way. Those guys are all pros. Well, all these guys in high school, they got good coaches too. They got coaches that are working hard. They got coaches that are studying film. And so every night you got to be ready to go. If you're not ready to go, you can come out shorthanded.
I do really like that NFL analogy because like I said, I was telling Gary, before we went to the game, we did a little round table with our buddies, and everybody had Chiefs blowing the Titans out because the Titans, I think, going into Sunday were a 4-4 or 4-5, and now they're 5-5. Either way, but basically the talent level in the NFL between teams is like that. It's right. It's barely anything, right? The only thing that sets us apart from Tennessee, we have a dominant quarterback with Mahomes, but they also have a dominant running back with Derrick Henry. Right. And so, the talent level is right there. So if you catch anybody sleeping or whatever, or you find a little thing to take advantage of, it's going to go, it's going to go. So it sounds like the Sunflower League is a lot really similar to that, to where the talent levels are pretty close, and it's all about, what's going what that night and a little bit of everything. So
yeah, I think that's a great analogy. We got up on the Titans, and, they didn't get away from what they did. They were going to run the ball. They were going to give it to Derrick Henry, and they kept feeding him. They didn't put the game on Tannehill. They didn't try to make Tannehill be a Mahomes. And, it was a smart move on their part. And they kept running the ball, and they were able to eke out a victory. And, we didn't play our best game, that's for sure.
I think that's the strength of, a good coaching staff that kind of sets their mission and, hey, this is what we're going to be about, and then let's just stick to it. Whether things are going good, things are going bad. Just stick to your system, and it's going to work, and figure out your guys' strengths.
For sure.
And I know that's something, over the last 5 years I've seen you do with our basketball guys, just put them in the best position for them and for the team, and so that we can just be in games and kind of hang around and give ourselves a chance there at the end.
Yeah, I think that's really important, is that, ultimately, most sports, it's a team game. You might have a great individual player, but at the end of the day, the better team usually wins, and that's what we always try to be. We always try to be the better team.
Yeah, a lot of times you can see that, especially in basketball. I don't think no NBA team has really won with just one superstar, right? Jordan didn't win championships until he got Pippen. LeBron didn't get any championships until he teamed up with Wade. A lot of times like that, even in college. In college, you'll see some of these guys, these superstars, playing at small colleges, and it's fun, and it's fun to watch them and everything like that. But Kevin Durant at Texas, no championship, even though Durant's one of the best, especially now, he was one of the best in college. So it's always kind of cool to see the emphasis on team, especially in basketball. It's huge. It's huge. In every sport it's huge, but basketball especially. So really cool to kind of talk about that.
Yep. What's an opponent you look forward to playing this year? Is there somebody that is always special to you? I know Rockhurst a little bit, but if you want to talk about that game, or if there's another one.
I think everybody circles the Rockers game on our schedule for sure. That's a great game. It's great for all of our kids, our community. It's really great for our JV guys. The JV guys, their game is sold out. It's the first time they got to play under pressure. It's the first time that, they do something bad. Somebody's yelling air ball or, yelling at them. And we played them at home this year. And then we also play Shawnee Mission South at home. And we played Shawnee Mission South. We beat them last year 89-84 in 3 overtimes, and just a great high school game. I think those would be the 2 games at home that people would circle for sure. And then, anytime you go to Lawrence, I think that's a tough place to play. Lawrence's gym is kind of an old school gym. It's always tough to go on the road. They have a great kind of home crowd too, and that's a great road atmosphere for us.
That's really cool. I mean, we love to see good competition, and I'm sure some of those guys are circling you on their schedules as well. They want to be Coach Hare. They want to be Coach Hare. So it's always kind of cool to see, especially with Shawnee Mission South, you guys being real close, and you guys playing each other, to see some good competition there.
And South is kind of a rivalry, in all of our sports.
Not
just basketball. It's kind of always. Even as a coach, even though I'm not, I haven't been a Shawnee Mission guy, but for 5 years, it's always one of those games that you don't have to motivate the kids as much that week because they know it's on the line, and they grew up with some of those kids, and then boundary lines separated them. So
I was going to say they see some of those guys.
Yeah, so it's kind of a natural rivalry, and that's good. I think rivalries are good. Some people are saying you should get away from hating somebody, but I think on the court, or on the field, whatever it may be, man, let's go. Let's destroy this guy if we can.
Yeah, rivalries are that's great for high school sports. It's great for communities. Bragging rights. I mean, it's fantastic. I think that's so important. It's so crucial. You can be a good sport and, still try to win. I bring back to NFL, people are on San Fran, they're on Shanahan, because there's about 1:20 left to go. They didn't have any timeouts, and he went for the win, and then it didn't work out.
That.
And I'm like, what is he supposed to do?
You're not playing for a tie.
You're not playing for a tie. This ain't soccer.
No.
So, I mean, that's the thing. You're playing to win. Those rivalries are what make it great. Play Rockers, play Shawnee Mission South. Those are great. Those kids, those are memories for a lifetime for those kids.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Rockers games that I've seen over the last few years at both places you couldn't get one more person in that gym if you had to. It's packed, and I'm sure, it's a great atmosphere to coach and to watch a game in and for those kids to play in.
Midwest Mike should do that game. They should be there.
Hey,
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's get that on the ticket.
Yeah. Right. Hey, I'm in.
I'm ready for that.
Jim, maybe we'll broadcast that thing on UClick. And
I'm doing great, man.
I'm gonna do a little sideline. Hey, why'd you call that? Why'd you call that timeout, Coach? Coach is like, get out of my face.
Yeah. You better stay away from Coach Hare during the game.
Knock me out.
Who's the sideline reporter?
Get
him off our bench.
Yeah. we better get somebody a little prettier than you if we're gonna have a sideline reporter.
Come on. All right, Gary, you got it. You got the job, man. You got it, Gary. Actually, that would be really fun.
Yeah, that would be. So maybe we can work on that. Make that happen.
Yeah. Next thing we want to speak on is culture, because I get the feeling that Coach, you know how to develop some culture. So how did you establish the culture at your school?
Well, it's something that we talk about all the time with our assistants. We talk about with our team. I think it's important that you stand for, kids that are going to play hard. They're going to compete. Most people will say those kids really competed hard. They were diving on the floor for loose balls. Those are tough kids. And I think that's really important. But you build culture every day in practice. You build culture for kind of what you stand for. Like, you got to get to class. You got to stay on top of your grades. You got to stay being a positive role model. And I think culture is something that you build day in and day out through the weight room, through your practice, and through your stuff that you do off season. Yeah,
it's a continuous process. all the time with culture. It's not just something like you established 20 years ago when you got to East.